Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Do Bonsai. It's the new year now, so I hope you've all had a great festive period, a happy Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year. And it's been a while, so I think what we're going to do today is do some jade succulent work and maybe make up one or two little forests. So we've got a number of jades that have been growing quite well. We've got the succulents that were sent by Ashley Bonner. There's a sad looking jade here which there's a little story behind, and I'll tell you that shortly. And there's some other succulents just tucked round the back, and I think what we'll do is make a bit of a nice little foresty type penging planting to bring them all together. So before we get started, what we have is obviously the setup. We've got some cameras either side. There's one up here. We've got the top camera facing down. You'll see from my view it's actually looking the right way up there, but it'll actually be upside down when it comes out on video. So that's something that we need to sort out. We've got the Canon camera recording a full-on shot of what we've got. The main thing, a nice cup of tea in the Let's Do Bonsai mug. Thanks, Tom. And speaking of Tom, we have some gifts here that I received over the Christmas period. Little book of bonsai, very nice little book, this one. It starts off, you know, explaining about bonsai and the tools and what you need, and then there's about 50 pages for lots of different types of trees that you can bonsai, and it tells you how to treat, how to look after, what the trees are looking for, what their best situations are, how to water them throughout the year, etc. And then it says, you know, the prone to whatever insects or problems that you might have. It gives you an idea of soil that you can use. So for an American hornbeam, use a mix of 50% organic and 50% fast draining coarse sand. Hornbeams grow in moist rich soils near ravines and lowland forests. So it's a really good short instruction of how to look after each of the trees that you'll probably have as a bonsai. Highly recommend it. I've had a good look through it, and there's lots of information in there, and if you know you need to refer to it for a little bit of help and advice, it's definitely a good little book to do. As well as my bonsai book, I got another Grow It bonsai kit, and I do have another one here. So if anybody would like to see these two kits on a new starter kit, we can do them together. We might be able to mix it up and do it in different soils or something to see what turns out best, you know, adding mikus and things like that to it, some especially for the pine type trees. So if anybody would like to see another series on the Grow It bonsai kits, obviously I've got two kits there that have been given to me, one as a gift and one as a gift for Christmas. So I'm definitely going to do them. It's just whether or not people would like to see that again. Hi everyone, I'm just going to interrupt this part of the video here because basically this camera is causing me major issues, major problems. It's playing at different speeds, it's blurry, it's supposed to be 4K and it isn't coming out in 4K. It's being a right pain in the posterior. So I think we're going to abandon the downward camera, especially in this video. We will take it off and replace it with a GoPro pointing down, so we will still have a down facing camera. But I'm just going to show you the piece of wood that I'm just about to talk about, and you know, we can move forward on this video from here. So pardon the interruption, let's get back to it. I got a lovely piece of wood here. When this was purchased, trees and things were planted for me. and it says on there it's etched in with Scott and Let's Do Bonsai. I really do love wood. I love sanding back and oiling wood up and seeing, you know, the veins of the trees come to life. And this is a lovely piece of wood that I'm going to look after and care for. It will sit on the side of my desk near my computer, but it won't be for putting cups on or anything like that, because I don't want to damage the surface of it. But it'll be a nice little plaque just to sit to one side. So also we had some spec bomb here and the 2 new £5 special bonsai trees, which are situated on the end of here, and that's where the story for the little Jade comes in. It was sat on this edge, and before we got the mining rig sat in position, which is keeping things nice and toasty in here. It's night time and we're on 13 degrees, so you know, things in here are really nice and toasty. But that poor little Jade, I say it was a poor little Jade, it was about this size, you know, it was a nice big Jade tree, and it was sat on this corner, but stupidly I'd placed the heater to keep this warm as it was working on the automatic switching on and off of the heat or cool, and it blew the heat straight onto the Jade and basically dried it out, cooked it, really shriveled it up. But hopefully where we are here with it, as you can see, it's put out all that new growth. It's going to continue to grow and do well. I also got the on-air symbol that you can see there, so I'm probably going to extend that and put it into the window here, because people do tend to come and bish bash on the door as I'm making a video, and at the moment I can just turn that on and off quite easily just there, so it'll be nice and easy to let people know that we're working or not. And then last but not least, Merry Christmas, Scott. I have a ratcheting pruner for you to use, works great, from Tom from the channel Growing Clip Bonsai for Seniors. Tom, you spoil me. I know we keep doing it backwards and forwards, but it's very much appreciated. And the pruners are taped into the delivery package here, so I'll just get those out and we can have a look at them. And here they are, very well wrapped, Tom. And there they are, the Ironwood Tool Company's ratchet pruners with a cushion grip. I believe they come with a lifetime warranty, these. But these are obviously outside of the States now. So you can oil here. I think you probably just lift out the stone. Let's see if we can get these to open. So I'm going to step back in with yet another interruption, because the angles of the cameras were all wrong. I had a GoPro on my head and it was looking up in the air stupidly, and everything else was just in the way. The camera that I had sat here I was in the way of it, and it was just, sorry guys, it's a bad video. But these are the pruners that Tom kindly sent, and you can open these by just squeezing the handle ever so slightly, pulling that red lever back, and that releases the action of the pruners. Now if you're strong enough to cut through, you'll go straight through and the ratchet action doesn't need to come into play. But this back part, which is connected to the main blade, if that sees resistance, it ratchets itself. And then in order to lock it back up, you just squeeze it and slide the connector back on. So they work really well, Tom, thank you very much. And I have a sister pair for them, so they go together quite well, those. My Tabor pruners, really nice and solid pruners, they work really well. And then these are going to come in really handy, I imagine. So a quick look round in the greenhouse. You can see a lot of it's still nice and green. Everything's looking good. We've got the new £5 specials have been potted up into some little bonsai pots. We've got some spec bum there that's growing quite nicely. The horse chestnuts are still in a dormancy period. Oaks, larch, everything's doing quite nicely as you look around. The ginkgos, they've managed to hold on to their leaves. You would normally expect them to have all dropped off at the same time, but I think we need to do some cleanup work on there. There's a lot of weeds, etc. on the trees. As we work our way up to the back, the little pine forest is doing nicely, and then we've got the an Acer palmatum in there. The Indian beans doing okay, and then the yew trees that we bought from the Doncaster boot sale are doing all right. The bin recovered tree continues to grow. The avocado continues to grow, but it does look like it's being attacked by some slugs or insects or something, so we'll have to pull that and have a look at that. The orange tree and the lemon tree continue to do well. They could do with a bit of a clean and a tidy up, but yeah, we've got a lot of stuff doing really well. We've got the twisted hazel here. You've got the little green buds waiting to pop out when it comes round to spring. Hopefully they'll come back and do well. The orange trees that we planted, the lemon trees that we planted, yeah, all doing okay. They're all in pretty much a dormancy phase, so we're just waiting for time to come back round to spring and things to spring back into life. So if we bring the jades in, we can have a look and see what we're going to do with respect to those jades, and create some sort of jade stroke succulent forest, I hope. So here we are with the selection of jades and succulents that we've got to make this forest out of. And we've got a nice selection. We've got some straight up jades at the back. We've got the succulents that Ashley Bonner sent. They've really shot up and done really well. They're nice and lush. We have the variegated succulents that are continuing to grow and do well. I remember when they came, they were literally just sat on the surface of the soil in that pot, so they've done really well. And then we have the succulents that I saved off of another planting that weren't doing very well, but they have grown and they have hopefully proceeded to do a little bit better. This one here, that you can see, it all died back to here. There's a little bit of a die-off piece, and it was purely my fault. It was up to about this sort of size. It was doing really well. It was a nice big jade, and then I'll show you what I did. Before the mining rig was put into position, keeping it warm in here, we had the heater coming on and off. And because this was a bit of dead space just here, I stupidly placed this tree on the edge ready to move it to somewhere else and totally forgot about it. The heater came on and off a good few times and literally blasted it with so much heat that it just fully, you know, died back all the way through. I took it out, rescued it as best I could, hoped that it would recover and do well, and as you can see, we've got all these new bits of growth coming out on this little stem. So hopefully, you know, out of adversity we might get some good taper. You know, instead of cutting it back, I've killed it back, and we'll get that as that grows in. It'll be some natural taper and stuff as it goes. So we might just have felt lucky in the end with that. So I think my aim with these succulents is to start by preparing a pot. I think maybe an oval type pot, or I think that pot there would be a bit too large. I've got some of the plastic training pots down below. We can prepare a oval training pot and position the jades probably towards the back as a backdrop for the forest, and then we can place the smaller jades and succulents within the planting. This little fella though, he's going to have to stay on his own. I don't know whether you can see it on the downward camera. You can see the movement in that. It's done this purely by itself. It's the little jade that wants to be a bonsai, I've called it. And yeah, it's contorted itself, it's twisted itself. It was just sat in a windowsill at the office, and I just let it grow, let it do its thing, and it curved around and then curved back, and this branch came out and curved around, and now this one's curving up. So it's kind of making it what it wants for itself. So we'll allow that to carry on growing on its own, doing its own thing, and then eventually we'll prune it back. But all this twisting and contorting here, you know, you'd normally have to use a bit of wire and stuff for that, and face a bit of damage on the trunk and the branching, etc. But this little fella decided to do it itself. It's the little jade that wants to be a bonsai. Away with you.